Jadine, in their writing, hit the nail on the head a lot of times. And they mentioned fun, especially when they were talking about the Hopeless Nightmare ban, where I don't think anyone was complaining about Hopeless Nightmare based off of purely based off of power level. It's just, this sucks. It's boring. Why are we still doing it? With Up the Beanstalk, they said, oh, the puzzle's been solved multiple times already. It's as close as they can get to saying, this shit's boring, we made a mistake, let's move on past it and not have this be plaguing our life for the next however long we decide to have it legal and standard. It's the same with Corey Steelcutter. We solved the deck building puzzle. You play it with ones if ones are available. If you have zeros, play it with zeros. You play it with aggressive cards, try and get them dead quickly, and that was solved already. Sleight of Hand's going nowhere. Like, Storm Chaser's Talent apparently not going anywhere. So that's been solved.
And final bit of a nod, and not a formal removal of a uniform ban window, but a bit of a nod to, with an adjustment to rotation. And so that basically means it's not this time next year, there's the next rotation. It will be at Christmas time or January.
Yeah, they're aligning it with the year as opposed to the autumn set or fall for our American brethren, where that made sense when it was blocks. It doesn't make sense anymore, so you might as well just do it yearly, because you're removing another thing that's incredibly confusing for new players, where you're going, oh yeah, rotation's actually in August, and it's like, well, that's a weird time to do it. It's not even the start of the financial year or anything like that. There's no reason for it to be there for new players, so it's just confusing that it is there.
It gives a perfect alignment for your Pro Tour structure to feed your worlds and for everyone to then start again. So effectively, if you qualify for your big tournament in 2025, the next you'll play the next one of the big tournaments in 2025, and you kind of like keep on that alignment, which I think it's got a lot of good things that go for. And they took these cards. They took the really powerful cards like the Hopeless Nightmares out of the relevant slots and Corey Steelcutters, but the decks have been moving into sort of, let's just find a replacement, or let's kind of keep the same play patterns. And I like the fact that it's subtle enough that it's powering the deck down, but it's like also close enough that if you're willing to make like the deck building, like Fallout. So great example, Hopeless Nightmare. You can pop in a Tiny Bones Joiners up for the discard a card effect. You don't get the 2 life, so a little bit of a less. And you need
it's worse. It's still fine. It's worse, but it's absolutely fine.
And you can still then play your 8 bouncers. In fact, play more bouncers, because you have the 2-mana legendary bouncer, which will then help fuel your tiny
Ambrosia Whiteheart, I believe.
Ambrosia Whiteheart, that's the darling. And so there's. It's a little bit more of a deck construction puzzle, and also something, because at the end of the day, the difference there is by the time you've played the same amount of cardboard, your opponent's probably lost 6 less life. You can't have multiple 2/1 flyers because it's a legendary creature. In fact, it's not even a flyer, despite the fact it's a freaking bird. That's a bit of another one of those classic archers that don't have reach.
Hey, Chocobos are flightless, bro.
Lots of good movements, and as you know, we'll probably not in this episode, but we would get onto with the sort of Vivi combo decks do go. The PVDDR like list is wreaking havoc. It is being well played. It's stoppable though, so I don't think anyone's going to make any major evaluations in this 3-week window.
No, I think a certain amount of that is that PVDDR needs to be nerfed, not that the deck is overpowered or anything like that. I think it's more a case of he's an insanely good player. He is in the top 5 players of all time, pretty much without argument. And you could give him a ham sandwich. He's going to go 6-4 with it, let alone a good deck. But again, Foldoran Thrillseeker's rotating.
Yeah. So that sort of combo way out goes like a lot of these sort of very powerful combo decks that have secondary win cons, like the first win con goes, or the solid second win con goes, so it becomes a bit of a glass cannon, right? Like it's lots to change. It really does need to change, because there has been a very obvious straight to the top of the meta brainless MTGO grinder special of Dimir mid range, and we've seen it. The memes are everywhere across Fire Shoes and YouTube and everywhere. The 1 through 8 standard challenge this last weekend, where it was all Dimir mid range.
I think it was 7 of the top 8, but it's the same thing as Frog in Modern, where for ages that was just not a good deck. It was Psychic Frog and then 56 other cards that weren't particularly good. They weren't suited to the meta. But some of these people, they see Preordain and a 2-mana threat that accrues incremental advantage in the same deck, and they just cannot help themselves. They need to play it. They see a Fairy Mastermind and think, oh, it could draw me a card, and they have to play the deck with it in. They see Kaito that draws them a card every turn, and they go, well, I have to play this. It's so skill intensive. I'm a better player than everyone else, so I need to play this because I can get the advantage out of it. And then someone turns up with mono red and kicks their head in, and they 0-2 drop. But it's obviously a good deck, and it's not losing that much with rotation by the looks. So it will be a place where people start. The lands, it is getting slightly worse, I want to say. I think they're getting a shock land, but they're losing the pain land and the fast land. So maybe it won't be as pip intensive. Maybe it goes closer to mono black, that sort of thing. But
yeah, let's talk about the land base situation, because I think not go look at results. That result is the high time shocker. Golgari's done well, Control's done well. Is it
Cauldron, mono black demons, Gruul Delirium? There's a whole mono white Control's been doing quite well as well, but it's
we'll do our usual thing. We'll point you to mtgjack.net. We'll point you to Fire Shoes on X, Twitter, Threads, wherever you want to see him. Blue Sky. He'll find you something to play in the meantime. Please don't burn your wild cards. Please just play what you can build with your collection. If you're playing on Arena, if you're playing on Modo and you have a rental service, use a rental service. Don't go drop any tickets on anything.
Yeah, don't be buying cards for the next month, because in a month the format is going to look completely different.
Yeah. I think the financial advice we'll give on that is most of those decisions will be bad decisions if you make them. So you might get lucky, and we always hear that story of, I picked up that card for 2 tickets and it's now worth 25. Well, yeah, like we've all done the reverse though.
You don't hear about all the times they've bought a card for 25 ticks and then 3 weeks later it's worth 3 ticks and they can't even sell it to a bot because everyone else is doing the same thing. You'll hear about people